Alright, so this is going to be the 5,000 subscriber special, and this is going to be part 1 to What If Deku Lived in Gotham City. So, let's get into it.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you. Won't you let the light shine through?
Alright, so, before I started recording this, I looked up where was Gotham City, because, I didn't want to, just make Gotham City in Japan. So I looked it up, and apparently Gotham City is in New Jersey. I don't really know if that's true, but just for the sake of it, let's just say that it is in New Jersey, and Deku's gonna be American in this. So let's begin. So we start our story off with Deku and his mom at a different quirk doctor, because there is quirks in this as well. So they're at a different quirk doctor. So the doctor would say that Deku doesn't have a quirk, and he has the double joints in his pinky toe. And Deku is saddened by this, but he gets he kind of shrugs it off, but he says, or he still wants to be a hero because there's someone called Batman who works in this city that he lives in, Gotham. And so even though it's a really high rated area for criminals, Batman is always there to take them out. So Deku's favorite hero is Batman, and even more since he found out that he was quirkless and he wants to become like Batman. He admires Batman the same way Deku would admire All Might in canon. So yeah. So ever since that day he was told that he was quirkless, it kind of got to him, but it didn't stop him from trying to become a hero. Like Batman, he started to train from a young age. He taught himself a few martial art, or he didn't teach himself martial arts, but he went to different dojos to learn martial arts. He trained in different weapons, and really just so he can become a hero like Batman. And one day, as Deku and Inko and Hisashi, yeah, why not? So them three, they're just walking around town, and it's kind of late. I'm gonna say it's 7 p.m. Not too late, but it is getting dark. So they were just walking around. Eventually, they just make to a quick stop at the bank just to withdraw some money. So they just stop at the bank, and as they're getting as they deposit their money, they a few robbers with masks would show up, and they would they would start shooting their guns and just yelling everyone to get on the ground and not have them move. So Deku, I must say he is 7 right now. So yeah. So Deku, yes, he has done martial arts, but he is really scared because he's never been in a situation like this. Hisashi and Inko are hugging Deku to protect him. Inko's hugging Deku, and Hisashi is hugging Inko to protect both of them. And one of the robbers would say hey, you three, or you get away from that woman. And he's talking to Hisashi, and he doesn't say anything. He just holds on tighter. Inko is getting really scared. And, the guy would say, like, hey, do I have to repeat myself? And he shoots, like, a warning shot. Like the bullet lands, like, right next to Hisashi's, like, right arm. It kind of, like, rips, like, I want to say he was wearing, like, a sweater. It, like, kind of, like, rips through his sweater. And, the guy would say, like, I don't want to repeat myself a third time. Get away from her. Hisashi would say, no, I'm not getting away from my wife. And, one of the robbers would say, like, oh, is that your wife? Huh. Well, that's too bad. You'll get to see her in the afterlife. And, the robbers would shoot Inko in the head. And, Deku would kind of let out a little bit of a scream because he just heard a loud noise right next to him. Hisashi would start, like, screaming and yelling and just being enraged to see, like, seeing his wife get killed right in front of him. He rushes towards the robber that shot Inko, and he tries to, like, tackle him, but then another robber would show up and just shoot, like he would shoot Hisashi multiple times in, like, the chest and in the head. Deku doesn't know what to do, and, like, he's, like, scared. He's, like, paralyzed with fear, but eventually he does, like, move out of the way just in time so the robbers don't see him. Like, he hides behind, like, a little desk or something, and he just waits it out. Eventually he would hear a window crack from above. He looks up to see Batman jumping down, and he takes down the criminals really easily. The criminals did kill a few people. That includes Deku's parents. Deku is, like, really scared. Eventually a few other heroes would show up, and, like, the police would also show up as well. Batman and the police, they would, like, arrest the robbers, and they would help the civilians that were also, like, being held hostage, like, up and, like, get them to safety. Batman was in, like, kind of in a hurry because he got another radio call or something. He got another signal saying that another robbery was happening, so he didn't really have time to, like, check, like, the building thoroughly to see if he had, like, any other people in there, so he just ran off. He went in his Batmobile and, he just left to go to the other crime scene, not knowing that Deku was watching him the whole time. And, Deku was he's shocked that, his favorite hero just left him. He helped out the other people that were in the bank with him. And, like, eventually, the police would, they would, like, take care of, like, the dead bodies. They would cover them up. And, they would just get rid of them. And, Deku watching this, he doesn't know what to think. His parents died, and Batman didn't save him. He didn't help him at all. And, Deku doesn't know what to think, and he just runs off in the opposite direction. He runs, like, in the back where, like there's other, like, separate rooms. Not, like, where the vault is, where they keep all the money, but, like, behind, like, where the desks are. There's, like, a little room, and he just runs in there. And he just starts crying because, he doesn't really know what to think about heroes anymore. And eventually he does make it out. Like, he cries himself to sleep, and, like, the next morning there are police in like, the building just trying to see if there's, like, any other evidence or something. And eventually they would get into the room where Deku was. Deku was, like, they see a little kid, like, sleeping, and their Deku's, like, cheeks are, like, red, and, like, his eyes are red as well. And, like, they say, like, there's a kid in here. And they pick him up gently so they don't have to wake him up. They put him in a cop car and they drive him to the police station. Like, Deku would wake up as like they would pull up to the police station, and he would say like, "Oh, where am I?" And the police that's driving the car would say like, "Calm down, kid. We got you to safety." And um, Deku doesn't know what to think, but he said like, "Get away from me." Um, and the cop would just like open his door, would get out and open Deku's door where he was. Deku relentless, like like Deku being scared. He doesn't want to move, and the cop would say like, "It's okay, kid. Like, I won't do anything to you. I just brought you here so we can question you, to ask you." Or he wouldn't say that. He would just say like, I brought you here to ask you some questions. There we go. It's the same thing, but yeah. So Deku just steps out of the car and he tries to run for it, but he would run into like other few cops, and the cops would say like, "Hey, yo, like, hey, slow down. Like, what are you doing here?" Then the other cop that was driving Deku to the police station, he would eventually come up and he would say like, he was part of the robbery, the bank robbery that happened a few days ago, or yesterday. They would say, "Oh, so, like, can you help me bring him in?" And the other cops would say, "Yeah, like, all right, like, let's go." So, they hold Deku's hand, and, Deku accepts, and they walk into the police station. Deku is like, and he's sitting in a chair. I'm gonna say he has, like, apple juice, so, like, they gave him something to drink. And they start, like, questioning him. Or they just, oh, yeah, that's what they're doing. So they would say, like, what happened? Like, do you remember anything? And, Deku would say, like, I remember my mom, my dad. They, 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 the cops would say, like, they what? And, like, what happened to them? Deku would say, like, they got shot, and I don't know what happened to them. They just fell down to the floor, and I was scared, and I ran away and hid. Eventually, I just fell asleep. Or no, he would say like, I saw. He wouldn't say that he fell asleep yet, but he would say that, he saw police like um like wrapping them in like different, like, I don't know what they wrap up dead bodies with. It's like some kind of material to like cover the body. But he would say that he saw like police covering up his parents with some kind of like tarp. And he just ran away and hid into a little room at the bank, and he just cried himself to sleep. The cops would say like, "Oh, so, you must be Hisashi and Inko Midoriya's son." And Deku would say, Yeah, that's my mom and dad. Like, what happened? Are they okay?" And the cops that are there, they look at each other and they just give a little nod. They'd say like, "We're sorry to like tell you this, but your parents didn't make it." And Deku would say like, "No, that can't be true."
Sorry about that. My audio cut out, and also my brother just started crying, so I had to go check on him. But anyways, so Deku would just say like, "No, like, that can't be true. My mom and dad died." The cops would say, "Yes. I'm sorry that you had to hear that, but we didn't want to lie to you." And Deku just starts breaking down, crying. He's on the floor. He's on his knees. he's just crying, and the cops, like, they feel bad for him because, no one, not even no kid, really anyone should have to go through like the pain of losing a family member or their parents. But they comfort him as best as they can, and you know Deku eventually he does calm down. And he did, later that day, he found out that that sorry, but that day he found out that the robbers that killed his parents were just getting light. They were just getting like 3 years in jail. And Deku, hearing that, he would say like, no, that he's just thinking like, no, like that can't, that's not fair. They killed my mom and they killed my dad. They killed other people. Like that can't be. And Batman should have killed them, even though he is a hero. But he should have at least he should have at least done something to make them have more jail time. So that after that, Deku gets sent off into an orphanage, and from that day on, Deku he changes. His personality changes. He believes that the way Batman, like how he treats his criminals, he doesn't kill them. He just sends them in jail. And eventually they just break out for him to do, beat them up and send them back into jail, and it's just one big cycle. And Deku eventually figures that out, and he says like, I'll become a hero, a real hero. And from that day on, Deku he's like, I guess you can say he's like Red Hood. Like he does what he has to do, what he thinks is right. Like if he has to kill someone, then he has to kill them, for them, so they don't have to do any more harm to other people. So from that day on, he trains intensely. Like he just pushes his body to the absolute limits. And the people that run the orphanages and the other orphans in there, they tell Deku to stop, but he doesn't listen to them. Eventually, he just starts punching them and just hitting them just to get them away. He just becomes really violent. And he trains as much as possible. Eventually, Deku, he eventually just leaves that orphanage. I'm gonna say he's about 10. Yeah, I'm gonna just say he's about 10 years old. Oh, sorry about that, but yeah, he's 10 years old. He just leaves because he's done enough training there, and he wants to move on, and he wants to become his own hero. So he's just wandering around this the alleys of Gotham. He's getting by. He looks through dumpsters just to look for food. But he finds something, and it's something. It's not food, but it's something that he wanted. He found a trash bag full of books, but these books are nor ordinary books. He would open the trash bag to see that these were self-defense books. They were all about martial arts. He flips through them and he says, or he thinks that these martial arts look strong. They look really cool. They would benefit me when I become a hero. So, he takes the trash bag with him, and he starts making a little shelter for himself. And from that day on, Deku just trains and trains, and he does steal food because that's the only way he can get food besides dumpster diving. And he rarely finds any good food. He just finds expired food or just rotten food.
or not even food at all, just junk, And, so he has to steal like food to survive, but, he doesn't get caught. And eventually he turns 15. No, I'm gonna say 14. So 14 years have passed, or 4 years, I mean. 4 years have passed since he left that orphanage. He's trained his body to the absolute limits. He's at like peak human level or not peak human, but he's a lot stronger than the average 14-year-old. And he's a lot more skilled than the average 14-year-old. And eventually he wants to become his own hero or become a hero. But the thing is he can't like go and apply for, he doesn't know how to become a hero, so he just like basically becomes a vigilante. He tries to find like a hero suit, and he eventually does. He just finds old clothes, and he finds like an old curtain, and he just turns it into a cape. And he finds just random stuff. He finds like a old rusty bent like wooden or not metal mask. And basically he also finds a backpack, and he carries all of his like stuff that he needs. He has a few weapons in there, food in case he gets hungry, and just really like just supplies that he would need for combat. And the outfit that I'm describing is basically the one if you in the thumbnail, and I know it's the same one as the most, yeah, well, this is gonna be a manga spoiler, but the way Deku looks in the thumbnail, that is currently how he looks like in the manga. And I'm not gonna say anything else, but that's what Deku's gonna look like. He fix up like a few, like his mask, he fixed that up to make it more better, like more suitable for him to wear. And he has his backpack. He has like a little suit that he made. It's nothing great, but it's something. And it's all green. His cape is black with like green outlines. Yeah, like a green streak of green outline. Blech. What, I can't talk today, but but it has like green. It's also green, so yeah. Um and he just sets out as his first, as his first time being a vigilante. He sets out, and he's like running from building to building. And Deku has like, since he was training, he has like grown like a lot. I must say he's I don't know, I must say he's 5'10". Yeah, but that might be a lot for a 14-year-old. Well, not really, but he's 5'10", whatever. So he's like about the size of an average, adult male. So yeah, so he's just running from building to building. He's eventually he stops by an alleyway where like two muggers are like harassing a woman, and they're like saying like, "Hey, give me your purse, and like we'll have fun tonight," and stuff like that, just like harassing her. And, Deku jumps down, and the muggers would see this, and they look at like they look behind them to see a figure, a dark figure. They would say like, "No, it's the Batman. It's the Dark Knight." I'm gonna say that Batman has the nickname of the Dark Knight, because people already fear like trying to meet him at night. Like muggers, they fear him. They fear trying to, if they encounter what am I saying? Sorry, but anyway, so they said like, "No, it's the Dark Knight." And Deku steps closer. He says, "I'm not the Dark Knight."
And the muggers they would kind of start laughing. It's like, who are you supposed to be? Are you a fanboy? And Deku would say, I'm nothing like him, but I came here to stop you guys from harassing that woman right there. And the muggers would say like, all right, let's go, Batman wannabe. So they would start rushing him. I'm gonna say this guy has a quirk. He has like no, he doesn't have a quirk. I'm gonna just say he has knives on him, so he goes for Deku. He tries to slash at him, but Deku would dodge, and the other guy wouldn't have a quirk, so he would just try to punch Deku. Deku would dodge. He would use like the walls of the alleyway to his advantage. He would start jumping from each other, like how Gran Torino does. He jumps from wall to wall, using that to be more agile. So he punches and he kicks the other thug in the face. They both fall. They're not unconscious, but Deku would pick one of them up and he would just start beating on them. He would start like beating their face into a bloody pulp. The woman is, she's like just like kind of laying down, or no, she's not laying down. She's standing there in fear because she's just watching this hero that she thinks that Deku's a hero. She's just watching this man beaten down, getting beaten by another man, like into a bloody pulp. And you can see like blood on Deku's fists and knuckles. That guy is like unconscious, but also his skull and his nose are completely broken. And you can see it clearly. And Deku would just like drop him and go for the other guy. The other like mugger would try to stand up, but Deku would just kick him in the knee, breaking his knee. And the guy would scream in pain, and Deku would just start choking him, and he would say, "Shut up! You shouldn't scream." And he just starts choking him, but he decides not to kill him because he doesn't want to make a reputation. He doesn't want the woman to like report him as like a killer or like a murderer. So he just chokes him. He stops and just starts punching him, and eventually he just gets knocked out. The woman would just start running away, and Deku would say, "Great, I need to get out of here." So he just starts running away from the alley, or he runs deeper into the alleyway. And that's what he does for from like the year, or I'm gonna say like for 4 months he's doing that. He's going out on patrol. Put on one he gets like kind of like a little name for himself. Like people are calling him like another Dark Knight, but they're calling him the Darkest Knight. Yeah, they're nicknaming him as the Darkest Knight because they what they've like heard of him, they just know that he is like a hero, quote unquote, but he's a vigilante that just beats down on villains, and he just leaves them into like a bloody pulp. And they know that Batman would never do anything like that, and there has been like security cameras catching Deku. It's very like small video clips, or like some like blurry pictures, but it's not blurry enough, so they'll be able to see what Deku and his outfit looks like. And they see that Deku has like his suit is like really dark green with like black outline as well. He has a mask with a black and green cape, and and also a backpack with him. And Batman has gotten word of this. He's actually been watching Deku from afar. Like he knows of Deku. He's like I said, he's been watching him.
he hasn't made a move yet. He wants to meet him for himself. Like he wants to just talk. So yeah. So since that day or for the 4 months, Deku has been like, people call him the Darkest Knight, and now criminals are getting even more worried since they have to worry about two masked vigilantes in the city. And yeah, so so one I'm gonna say it's like a Friday night, and like a lot of people are out, since it's like Friday. So a lot of people are out, and Deku's running from building to building, jumping from roof to roof. Eventually, he's about to jump on another roof, but then he sees someone. He sees someone on the other roof. He doesn't see the front of him. He only sees the back. He recognizes the cape. He recognizes the pointy ears, or like the points on this person's head. The person would turn around. Just no surprise, it's Batman. And Batman would say, "I've been watching you for a while now." And Deku doesn't know what to do, but he would say, "Batman, like, fancy you meeting here. Fancy, bleh, what am I cannot talk today, but but he would say, Batman, what are you doing here?" Batman would say, "I'm on patrol. What are you doing here?" And Deku would say, "I'm doing what you are not, or I'm doing what you, I'm cleaning up your dirty work." Batman would say, like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean by dirty work?" And Deku would say, "I'm doing the things that you're scared to do. Killing people." Or not, nah, I'm gonna just change that. He wouldn't kill people, he would just cripple them, He wouldn't kill them, but yeah. And yeah, so Batman would say, crippling people is not, I'm not, like, crippling people is not my dirty work. And Deku would say, it's something that you lack. You lack the guts to brutally hurt someone to finish the job, so they don't have to run freely ever to cause chaos. Batman would say, that's not how heroes work. That's not how I work. Deku would say, well, you work wrong. This is the way heroes should treat their villains. And like they need to learn like to not mess or to not cause havoc in the city. Batman would say, like, your ideals are wrong. Deku would say, no, they're not. They're just better than yours. And Batman would say, no, they're not. You're just a psychopath. You're just delusional. You don't know what you're talking about. Deku would yell out, I do know what I'm talking about. Like, what do you know about, like, bleh. No, he wouldn't say that. But he would yell out that, Batman doesn't know anything about what he's gone through. And, he would tell that, like, that, when was it? So Deku's 14, he was 7, so it was 7 years ago. He would say 7 years ago, do you remember a day where a bank robbery took place? And Batman would say, he would say, yeah, what about it?
and Deku would say, you came from the top of the building. You took out the robbers. And that day, or before you came, my mother and father died to the robbers. Later, I found out that they were just getting 3 years jail time. And that's when I knew that this society was broken. This society treats villains like they're nothing. That their crimes mean nothing. And Batman would just stare at it and he would say, "What do you mean nothing?" They do get arrested. They would get justice. People's families would get justice for them getting arrested. Deku would say, "Justice, justice." So keeping them in prison until they break out and you have to take them out and repeating that process over and over, that's what you call justice. Like, how about you read the room? This world is cruel. You have to do what you have to do to make the world a better place. Batman would say, what you're saying is right, but you're going at it the wrong way. Deku would say, what wrong way? This is the only way. And Batman would say, you're under arrest. I'll be taking you in for questioning. You've been doing vigilante work, and that's illegal. Deku would say, how is it illegal? It's only illegal when you use your quirk. Batman would say, do you have a quirk? Deku would say, no, I'm quirkless. Batman would say, you still need to be questioned. You have crippled people, nearly killed people. That's still against the law. It's, and Batman would say, like, I don't want to do this the hard way, but you need to come with me. Deku would say, I don't think so. And he starts running. Batman chases after him. He catches up pretty quickly. Deku would throw a punch. Batman would block it. Then Deku would throw a kick. Batman would get hit in like the ribs, and Deku would like free his hand from Batman's grip. Then he would jump down to an alleyway and he would just start running. Batman would just start running from on the rooftop, just chasing Deku. Deku's like, Batman is kind of intrigued of how skilled Deku is and how he's maneuvering around the alleyways. He's jumping from wall to wall. He's dodging pretty much anything that comes in his way. And in his mind, Batman is thinking, this guy's perfect. He's pretty athletic, pretty agile. He reminds me of Grayson. And, he just continues to catch up to Deku. Eventually, he just jumps in front of Deku and he'll say, that's enough. You need to come with me. Deku would say, I don't need to. You didn't save me. And Batman would say, what do you mean I didn't save you? Deku would say, remember 7 years ago that the bank robbery, I was there. I was there when my parents got murdered. You were there. You took out the robbers. You left me. You left me there with nothing. I watched my parents get taken away. Batman would say, look, I didn't have time to look around thoroughly.
and I guess I must have missed you. I'm sorry. Deku would say, sorry? Sorry? Is that all you're gonna say? And Deku just kind of has like a little mental breakdown. He just starts screaming at Batman. And he would just say like, do you have any idea of what I've gone through ever since that day? Batman would say, yes, I know what the pain of losing your parents is like. And Deku would say, like, you probably had a life where your parents were in it longer for 7 years. And Batman, he would say, yes, I did. But he kind of, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say he just takes off his masks. Yeah, he takes off his mask. He would say, I want to say he was 11 at the time. So he would say, when I was 11 years old, my parents were murdered right in front of me, just like yours. And from that day, I made a promise to myself to become someone great, to stop people, like, to stop criminals, and to stop the pain, and to stop people from suffering the pain I went through when I was a child. You, you are just like me. Deku, like, listening to this, he it's just doesn't really know what to say, but he would say, "This, you're lying. You're just trying to comfort me. I don't need your pity." You know, Batman would say, "I don't, like, I'm not pitying you. If I was pitying you, I wouldn't have taken off my mask. I sympathize with you. I know what you're feeling, and this is not the way to go to deal with it." And Deku doesn't know what to say. Batman would say, "So, are you coming with me for questioning, or do I have to use brute force?" Deku would say, "Fine. I'll I'll go with you." So Deku and Batman, or Bruce Wayne now, Bruce Wayne. I'm just gonna call him Batman. So the two would start walking to the police station. They're, and they would arrive, and Commissioner Gordon, I think that's his name. Him, the I think, and he's there. They would say, "So you've arrived, and you brought him. So the darkest night. It's a pleasure to meet. It's nice to meet you." Taki would say, "The darkest night." Batman would say, "That's what the civilians are calling you." Taki would say, "The darkest night. Huh. I kind of like it." Gordon would say, like, "That's not the point. Batman brought you here for questioning and why you're doing what you're doing." So, they go into like a little private room for questioning. They, Commissioner Gordon would find out, Deku, like, his parents were murdered in front of him. Deku just tells him his whole backstory and how he trained and stuff. I'm pretty sure that Commissioner Gordon knows who Batman is, like, he knows his secret identity, but, I could be wrong, but just for this sake, he knows his identity. But, he doesn't, like, go around, like, saying who Batman is, because, he's not like that. So he would say, "Oh, you're just like Mr. Wayne here." And Deku would say, "Yeah, that's what he told me." So I guess I'm being arrested. Um, Commissioner Gordon would say, "No, you're not. You're a minor, so there are laws protecting you from being arrested. But we will give you 2 months, 2 months community service." Yeah, I just thought of that. So, that's his punishment for now. And Deku would say, "Well, it's better than going to jail. Is that all, Mr. Gordon?" Gordon would say, "Yes, you can leave." And Deku's about to leave, and he's like walking out of the police station. He's about to like start running, but Batman would stop him. He would say, or I would say Deku did tell them his name, which is Izuku Midoriya. Or yeah, just for plot's sake, yeah, his name is Izuku Midoriya. So Batman would say Izuku, since they're not in Japan. They wouldn't say their last names first, so he would say Izuku. Deku would say, "Yeah, what's up?" Batman would say, "Hi, I would like to take you in under my wing." Deku would say, "What do you mean?" Batman would say, "I want to train you to become a hero, a real hero." Deku would say, "Huh, but like, why would you want to work with me? And aren't I a criminal?" Batman would say, "Yes, you are, but there are some laws protecting you from calling yourself, from you becoming a full-on criminal, but right now you're just a kid. You're a scared boy who needs a like a guardian, and I want to be your guardian. So, do you accept my request? Do you want me to train you to become a hero?" Deku would say, "Well, it's gonna be better than living in the alleyways of Gotham. So, yes, I will accept your offer." And Batman would say, "Perfect." Or, there, like, the Batmobile would show up and he would say, "Get in. We're going to your new home." And, Deku does get in and they drive to Wayne Manor. So, that's where I'm gonna end it off here. I hope you guys did like this part. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.